Welcome to Life Decoded. Today I have a warm advocate with me. Cathy Nesbitt is here.
Hello, Moritz. I'm excited to be here.
Thank you so much for taking your time. And first of all, I need to ask the question for me and the audience who don't know what a warm advocate is.
Yeah, so it's a title that I gave myself. I'm the head worm advocate, which is, just raising awareness about these beautiful creatures. It's the 23rd anniversary of my worm composting business, Cathy's Crawly Composters.
Okay, so you're having a composting business where worms can live.
Yeah, so worms are in the house.
Okay.
Doing composting inside. So for people that live in apartments or, in small places without outdoor space to do composting, this is an option to do that in the house. Yes.
You have them inside with you, so not outside in the garden.
That's right. They're indoor worms. How do you like me now?
Indoor worms. Okay, so this will be one of the more interesting episodes. So just to get this right, you have worms indoors, in their own composting area where they live, have their own ecosystem, right?
That's right.
Why? That's the first question that comes to mind.
Thank you. Yes, that's a great place to start. So I'm located in Canada, just north of Toronto, largest city in Canada. And in 2002, our landfill closed. And Canada is second largest country in the world. And we couldn't find a place to site a new landfill. So we started to export our garbage to the United States.
Mm-hmm.
Almost 1,000 trucks a week were making the trip from Toronto to Michigan. And I had a solution. I was like, oh my gosh, how irresponsible to export our garbage. Really.
Yeah.
And come on, there's got to be a better way. And there is. And I had this solution of doing worm compost. It wasn't my solution. I just am marketing it better than others. So composting in the house. And I was thinking in Toronto, 6 million people in the greater Toronto area, half live in condos, townhouses, places without space for outdoor composting. And so this is an opportunity for them to manage their food scraps.
Okay, but it's only for the natural garbage, right? You don't put any plastic or the residential waste and everything. You don't put that in there.
Correct. That's right. So our food waste, coffee, tea, cooked pasta and rice, moldy bread, all can go in. And so it's carbon, nitrogen. The carbon that we use is shredded paper, could be leaves, straw, cardboard. Mm. And the nitrogen is our food scraps, so the green waste.
So I am, in my mind right now, there is a very, very sensible ecosystem that those worms live in. It's dependent on your waste, pretty much. And now, for instance, we have the Halloween season or the holidays around Christmas. And of course, there will be a tendency for more meat, for instance, in the holiday season. So when that all goes in, are they very sensible to different stuff? So do you always need to keep an eye on it, that you regulate how much you put in, or is it just completely whatever you get, you can throw in there, never think about it?
Oh, wonderful. Thank you. Yeah, so you do need to provide the right environment. So temperature, moisture, airflow. Room temperature is perfect. If we're comfortable, they're comfortable. 16 to 28 Celsius is perfect. Moisture, about 75% humidity. So you're fairly moist, but not soggy. They're not fish. They can't swim. And airflow. So you need to have holes in the container. And that's the piece that people are like, oh, holes can they crawl out? They can, yes. However, they're eating half their weight per day in food scraps. They have a phenomenal capacity to convert our scraps into black gold. Right? They're the original alchemists. Right? Turning something like garbage, so we call it garbage, into black gold so we can grow more nutrient-rich food. Okay. So if you, for easy math, I'll use like a pound of worms. if you had a pound of worms, they're eating half their weight, half a pound of food scraps per day, 3 to 4 pounds per week. So it's phenomenal for people that are like, oh, I don't know how much that is. You could weigh your scraps if you wanted to, just have enough worms to manage all of your scraps. Or they do have a phenomenal reproduction rate. So they do reproduce more than rabbits. People talk about, reproducing like rabbits. They have nothing on worms. Yeah. So so your worms will increase in number, which means that you need to add more food in.
Okay.
I hope that answered. I know you had.
That answers the question, but one big one is still in my head. How do you cope with the smell when you have it indoors? So is it in your living room or just a small cabin in your garden?
Well, ideally in the kitchen. That's where you're preparing your food. How do you deal with the smell? Thank you. That's one of the main objections to doing this. It's aerobic process, meaning with oxygen.
Mm-hmm.
It will never smell like rotting food. It may smell like the forest floor after a rainy day, like just that natural, like humus, like that. Just like moss or something. It might smell like that, but it's not a horrible smell like rotting potatoes or something.
So you're telling me some people are buying scented candles for a lot of money when they could have worms in their kitchen that produce a better and naturally better scent.
Absolutely, yes. So if it ever smells like rotting food, because you're putting rotting food in, so it's like, oh, it's counterintuitive. It's like, this won't smell. Right. But it's aerobic. So the worms breathe through their skin. They breathe oxygen. If it smells bad, that oxygen has been converted to gas. We can't breathe gas, and neither can the worms. So it's like a built-in mechanism. If your bin smells bad, action is required.
Okay, so, wow. Action is required. What could be a reason for a bad smell?
Your bedding has become too wet. So now it's become anaerobic without oxygen. And it's just different microorganisms at work here. We call them good and bad, but they're not good and bad. They're smelly and not smelly. With oxygen and without, that's all. Like nature doesn't produce bad things. We just label them as such. So if it's starting to smell, now your oxygen has been converted to methane. We can't breathe methane, neither can the worms. So maybe it's too wet. There's too much food. There's a few reasons that could happen.
But at the end of the day, this is your garbage container. So when you have a problem with your garbage container, it's like when you don't have a bag in your trash. So what do you do with your trash when the garbage can is not usable right now, or you would hurt the ecosystem? So isn't that a big counter?
Yeah, so all you need to do is remove some of the waste if there's too much food. If it's too wet, you can add some dry bedding. That will help balance the system. It's really not a huge fix. The worms are very adaptable, and just action is required. So either to remove some of the food, sometimes people don't chop it. The more we chop it up, the faster it breaks down, the more the worms can eat. Like we wouldn't put a whole apple in because the worms they don't have teeth, so they wouldn't be able to, they could just look at it if they had eyes, which they don't have eyes either. So it really is a whole ecosystem, as you said. There's all kinds of microorganisms that we can't see. They're doing the work. They're the heavy lifters, and the worms are the cleanup crew. So they're eating the poop of the springtails, the mites, the different bacterias, which, when we say these words, because we're so adverse to bacteria, we're like, oh, bacteria, but we are bacteria. And I've learned so much from the worms that I'm like, oh my gosh, not that I'm advocating for people to eat paper and rotting food, but if we ate like worms, we would poop like worms. Like it would, just it would go in, our body would take what it needs, and the rest would be expelled.
Mm. You've learned so much from the worms. That's what stuck with me right now. So what are the key principles you could learn from having worms as your pets at all?
Yes. Well, they have 5 hearts each. Each worm has 5 hearts, so they're very loving. They're sentient creatures. They're very sensitive, which we need more sensitive creatures today. We need more people to care. So they're very caring. They're just waiting there. They don't need, all the fanfare. They don't need a lot of space. They don't have a lot of personal space. They clump all together and they're in a group. Unlike us, we have our individual houses and we don't want to be close to our neighbors. And the worms are community driven. They work together. They're a collective. And so I think we could learn from that. They're adaptable in that they really can eat just about anything. I mean, what you're adding in is your fruit and veg, coffee, tea. You leave out meat. You talked about meat with the holidays coming up. You do leave out meat, and it's not that the worms are vegetarian. They're not. It's in an indoor system. The meat may rot faster than the worms can keep up, and then you would get that rotting odor.
Okay. So you also have a big entrepreneurial journey behind you. Is that in the same space or?
Yes.
Okay, so you are really marketing this strategy to the whole country, Canada.
Yes, absolutely. Yeah, as I said, 23rd anniversary, and this is a solution for the world. Everybody eats, everybody creates food waste. And we're running out of space to just put stuff. In North America, we've really destroyed the soil. Mm-hmm. Which, when I started my business, it was as a waste management tool. And then I quickly realized people wanted the end product. They wanted the vermicompost or the compost that the worms create, their poop. But they might not have wanted to do the process, right? We want to jump right to the convenience. Yeah, so gardeners were approaching me to get the black gold because you don't need chemicals. When you're applying compost, that compost will solve almost all your issues in the soil.
Okay, so you also have those creatures not only getting rid of your waste, they're reproducing something, getting you the black gold, this stuff that keeps the plants growing a bit better. How do you extract this black gold out of a trash can? So you have this ecosystem where there's the new trash, there's the poop, the black gold that you want to go on. And I believe you don't want to hurt the worms as well. So you need to extract this black gold from the other waste that you just put up and the worms that are living in it. How do you do that? Or is it completely no matter what, the worms can stay in it?
Great. That's great. So several things. For the do-it-yourselfers, just a tote will do. A plastic bin is fine. And if you have just a single bin, then when it comes time to harvest or separate the worms in the compost, you just dump it on a plastic sheet, put it in small piles. The worms are photosensitive or afraid of the light, so they go down into the piles. You just scoop off the top, scoop around the sides. You'll come to worms. They'll be in a pile at the bottom. You just take those, put them in your new bedding. Mm-hmm. So you set up your bedding, which is your shredded paper, a little bit of soil, eggshells, water. That's it. Add them in there. They start working again right away. And then you take your black gold and you can apply that to your plants. Alternatively, for people that are like, this sounds great, but I don't want to touch the worms. Mm-hmm. There are systems. So, I mean, if we're doing this on in video, I can show you. This is one system. It's called the Living Composter, and there's trays. So for anyone just listening,
perfect. Thank you.
Yeah, there's trays. So there's holes in the bottom of each tray. You start with one tray, with same as the bin. with your shredded paper, your bedding. The worms are there. When that tray fills up, you set up the next tray and put it on top. The worms will follow the food. They migrate up. They leave behind their black gold eventually, right? So then you're feeding in the second tray. The worms, some of them are still here. Some are going upstairs. And then eventually there won't be any worms left in the bottom tray. So you can take that one out and you don't need to touch the worms. There may be a few in there that you can pick out. And it's really beautiful with the systems. Usually there's a tap at the bottom. So any excess liquid will drain off. That's the compost tea, not for drinking, but for applying to your plants.
Yeah. Okay.
As liquid fertilizer.
Fertilizer was the word I was searching again. Yeah, thank you. Wow. Okay, so when going into this recording, I didn't think that we would talk that much about worms, but it's really, really interesting. Now, of course, it sounds very good. At the same time, of course, you get into a big risk of having a bad smell as soon as you do something wrong. So on that note, besides adding the wrong stuff or not doing a necessary action, what could be other things that you are underestimating when getting worms in your home? So what are the most problematic fields that people need to watch out when they start themselves?
Few of the challenges are maybe fruit flies.
Okay.
And right. So I say to people, like, they're like, I don't want to have bugs and all this stuff. Okay, well, if you don't want bugs, you can't do it because it is all bugs, right? It's all those microorganisms that we can't see.
Yeah.
Fruit flies are another issue. Fruit flies, I'll ask people, have you ever had fruit flies? And just about everybody has at one point or another had fruit flies. They're annoying, right? And so I say, okay, if you've had fruit flies, have you had a worm bin? No. Good. Okay, so the fruit flies don't come from the worm bin.
Okay.
They come from the food we're adding in, right? They come from the fruit. So I'll use bananas as my example. When we're eating the banana, we don't wash it first. We just peel it. So the fruit fly eggs are on the banana peel. And if we add that into our worm bin without taking action, then that's the perfect environment for the fruit fly eggs to hatch and fly around and bug us. They don't bug the worms. Right, they're decomposers, so they're just chewing the food for the worms. The worms are like, yay! If they could talk and see, they'd be like, hey, thanks, fruit fly, for chewing my food. But they bug us, so we don't want to get fruit flies. Something you can do is rinse any scraps you don't generally wash first. I leave citrus out because it has other issues, but pineapple, banana, melons. Give it a quick rinse. That because the fruit fly eggs are on the outside of the peel.
Okay.
So that's one issue, fruit flies. And then when you're adding your scraps into the bedding, you make sure it's covered. So you pull back the bedding, add your food in the hole you've made, and make sure it's covered. Okay, so that's one thing. Another challenge that we're experiencing today, when I started my business in 23 years ago, I think the chemicals, at least in North America, were less harsh. Now we've got these chemicals like glyphosate, which goes right into the vegetables. It goes right into the fruit and vegetables. So it doesn't wash off. Even if we use soap and whatever to wash off the chemical, it doesn't wash off. And it is right in. So that is harmful to us, to our bellies, and to the worms. I don't know what to say about that other than eating organic. That's going to be one thing that we can do to minimize the harm that we're doing, well, to our planet and to our little worm bin.
Okay, so when you get worms at your home for an extra trash dispenser, you not only run the risk of bad smell, but also of getting new pets that you don't even wanted, or you could kill the whole thing with the wrong products. What are the advantages of that? Why should someone, for instance, in Europe or USA, who's not exporting the trash into another country, why should people still at least think about the option?
Yes, managing our food waste is one thing we can all do to help mitigate climate change, because food scraps are transported around. If you're not composting them on site, they're in the garbage and they're going somewhere. Even if it's a municipal system, Again, back to Toronto, the most toxic green bin program in Canada, because they accept plastic bags, which then need to be removed. For convenience, they accept kitty litter, dog poop, diapers, feminine hygiene products. Like, ew. Pardon me, but I don't want to grow my food in that.
Mm-hmm.
And in Toronto's program, what they're doing is it's a different system. It's called anaerobic digestion, not composting. And these are all very large words and people don't understand. We put our garbage at the curb and the magic truck comes along and takes it away. But we don't know where away is. Away is where we live, by the way. Like, even if we're exporting to the United States, it's still where we live because there's only one planet. So I think it's really a way for us to be responsible for what we're producing. We're slowing down, right? We're taking time. When you're composting or with a worm bin, I lovingly chop up my scraps. I'm feeding my worms. I'm taking time. I'm not on technology when I'm taking care of my worms. Then, with the black gold that's produced, we can grow more nutrient-rich, delicious food. And when we grow our own food, we don't waste it because it took time for us to grow that tomato plant or that, lettuce or whatever we're growing. It took time for us to water it, to weed it, to do to harvest it. So we're definitely going to eat it because it tastes much better.
Okay. Wow. Wow. Just thank you so much for all of those insights. If people want to get to know you a bit better or the system, where can they go?
Yeah, my worm website is cathy'scomposters.com, Cathy with a C. I don't export the worms out of the country. I do workshops, so that can be done online anywhere. Although I don't speak German at currently.
No, we have enough worms here already. So
yes.
Just when I'm looking around into the garden, it's already enough. But yeah, thank you so much for your time and being on here and sharing all of this new information.
It's my pleasure. Thank you. And I really appreciate the opportunity.